Seek out the weakness that allowed this betrayal. Purge it from our midst.
And take our place as the rightful rulers of the galaxy. The universe itself will kneel.
All is ours.
All is ours. All is ours. All is ours.
Ever since it was announced that Lee Pace would be the voice of Thragg, I've been hyped, as this isn't actually the first time he's played an untouchable Space Emperor with a large body count before. And while some were worried about Lee Pace as a choice, I knew he had the chops to pull it off, assuming he would use his grittier voice like Ronan in the MCU.
You call me boy? I will unfurl 1,000 years of Kree justice on Xandar and burn it to its core.
Only to my surprise, he actually used his Emperor Cleon voice from the Foundation series, which is fair and could definitely work, but upon his first appearance within the show, I'll have to admit he was less intimidating than I imagined. It didn't help that all he did was stand around and admit his emotions to a skull, and the way his face is shaped with his color combination just gives me serious Mario vibes, which doesn't really help the situation. And yes, I'll even admit that the scene where he freaks out and goes to cradle the skull did put him in some serious aura debt.
No!
But I knew, given time, he would pay it back. And it really only took one episode for him to certainly do so. He was such an interesting villain to watch because his motives truly do just revolve around his people and planet, which makes sense considering he was raised to be Viltrumite's ultimate weapon. So his mind is filled with probably nothing but propaganda, which leaves him only really showing emotion when it involves Viltrumites, his old emperor, or the planet itself. But with most of these factors gone, I think we'll see a bit of a fluctuation change to Thragg's voice. Or maybe just less emotion in general. As you can tell, all he cares about now are the surviving Viltrumites he has left, genuinely taking a chance on Nolan's family multiple times. Except Oliver, who once again got himself into trouble. How many times does this kid have to almost die for him to start fighting more cleverly? Especially considering he will probably walk out of that healing tank, hug Mark, and say,
"Man, I can't believe I fought Thragg and almost beat him."
While I was a little bit worried for Oliver fighting Conquest, by the time he fought Thragg, I was hoping someone would slap some sense into him. Only I think you slapped that space child a little too hard there, Thragg. But I guess it's fair to assume that Thragg is just kind of a heavy hitter, considering he also punched Nolan into an unskippable cutscene mid-battle. He also went about and ignored Battle Beast, who was the first real villain to give Mark a run for his money. Though I wish Battle Beast wasn't so chumped in all these episodes. Even regular Viltrumites weren't taking him seriously. But back to Thragg, he even one-shotted Thaddeus, who was shown to be a pretty competent Viltrumite. And I really wish we could have seen him go up against Alan, as it just doesn't feel like we've seen Alan use most of his power just yet. He's always off fighting the side characters. I feel like in this specific moment where Mark needed someone to find Oliver, he should have just sent Tech Jacket and the Space Racer guy, and then had Alan come with him to help out Nolan. Unfortunately, I don't know if that would have worked out, as Thragg appears to be the strongest being in the entire Invincible universe, but it would have given Mark more of a fighting chance. And I like how when Mark announced that he killed Conquest, all the other Viltrumites stopped to listen. And there could be a few different reasons for why this is. The more obvious theory is that they were all impressed that he was able to kill Conquest, but it's also possible they were all just silently awaiting Thragg's reaction, which I gotta say, I really love how he delivered this line.
I killed Conquest! I'll kill you too!
Show me.
You could tell he was genuinely a little bit hopeful to see a capable Viltrumite, even if that Viltrumite was working against him. That's just how much he adores his own race. Only he was so disappointed in making Mark look less competent than mid-mortal that he decided to go ahead and do the same to Mark's entire bloodline. And he does so with ease. I mean, this would be like, for those who have watched Dragon Ball Z, if Majin Buu took down Goku's entire family without even breaking a sweat. I mean, this dude was just a beast on the battlefield. I really like how mid-fight, Mark got so scared he tried to fly away, even stopping to ask his dad how they can beat him. I honestly think Nolan was about to admit they were both cooked here, but Thragg, being the upstanding citizen he is, stopped him from spoiling anything. Also, spoiler warning if you haven't seen the episode. Either way, Thragg pretty much defeats the Coalition's best warriors. I'm wondering if the Viltrumites we see here are the only ones left out of the 50 or so we heard of. And what does them being on Earth even mean for everyone? Nolan by himself could have destroyed their entire planet. Which, side note, Viltrum's destruction did actually look pretty reminiscent of what he did to the Thraxans' homeworld. Either way, this video was really just to acknowledge how Thragg absolutely repaid his aura debt and paid with interest. And I think him as a villain throughout the series is going to be a very difficult one to manage, considering there's probably not a single person out there who can really put him in his place. Though maybe if Battle Beast wasn't forced to fight in space with a jetpack, he could maybe do more damage. But I'll have to admit, Thragg kinda disposed of him pretty quickly. Either way, I feel this was a much more solid introduction to the character than what we've previously seen so far. But how do you guys feel about the character of Thragg? Has your opinion changed on Lee Pace's performance as Thragg? Are you excited to see how he shakes up the plot? And how do we feel about the characters from the Dragon Ball universe going up against him? Either way, let me know down below, and remember, RIP Planet Viltrum.